Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to This Just In. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, we're going to talk about BIT Digital. Wanted to give you an update. We made a ton of money on that stock after the last rally, but it has since pulled back to some pretty crucial levels and is presenting some nice setups on the chart. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on where I see it going. I also wanted to take a look at Bitcoin. It has had a couple flash crashes over the last couple of weeks, so I wanted to give you my thoughts on that as well. So let's jump right in. All right, guys, before we get started today, subscribe to the channel for me. Hit that little bell so you get notified every time I post. There's also a link down in the top pinned comment to my Patreon account. Come over and join the family. I know you'll get a lot of value out of it. You'll get access to the private Discord where we talk stocks. You'll be able to check out all my different portfolios. And then anytime I buy or sell a stock or break down fundamentals, I send that out so you can follow along. I also send out a lot of swing trade setups, which is absolutely the most valuable aspect. That's where we make most of the money. We've had a lot of winners lately. So anytime I map out a chart or I enter a trade or I take profit or I have a watch list, I put that in front of you so you can learn how to identify those on your own and start to take those trades. There's also a lot of education over there as well that you can use to become a much better investor and take your trading to the next level. So if that's something you're interested in, come over and join us. I know you'll get a lot of value out of it. We do have a limited amount of spots down on the $10 tier. So if you want to support me and support the channel, and also be part of an amazing community, come check that out. Definitely the best way to support the stream or the community. Guys, real quick, any of the members, Day One Squad, I love you guys. For those of you that joined the live stream on our Patreon only night on Friday, I really appreciated that. That was super fun. It was my first live stream I've ever done. So thank you for, bearing with me while I worked out the kinks. I am going to be doing that at least once a month from here on out. I'm going to really try to do it like twice a month, one in the morning and then one in the evening to kind of accommodate anybody around the country, because we do have audience and family members across the country, or the whole world, excuse me, not country, the whole world. Guys, with that being said, if you do want to, be a part of that, if you do want access to the trade setups and everything, we will only talk about that on Patreon. All of the Patreon members will actually get free requests when I start streaming on YouTube full, as well. So in the next like 8 weeks, month and a half, I'm going to start doing live streams on YouTube. I'm still going to make videos, but every once in a while, a couple of times a month, I'm going to do a live stream, probably once in the beginning, once in the middle of the month, and then once towards the end of the month. So, you'll be able to watch those even if you're not in the Patreon, but I will be charging for requests on there where if you're a member, you'll get free requests. So definitely check that out. Guys, I want to talk about BIT Digital today because it is looking really good and it's setting up a very nice opportunity, pretty similar to what it did last time. Again, guys, I originally sent this out clear back in the beginning of the year at like $14, and I bag held on it all the way down to $5. I typically do not average down on a stock unless it is at a level that will substantially cut my cost basis down, or it is implying a lot of different variables, showing upside or reversal or a trade setup, something that is implying a, trend change versus just trying to buy the dip, quote unquote, like a lot of people do. So when I sent it out, it actually had painted that bullish deep crab. It had, bullish divergence. It was at a critical inflection point. It was everything we wanted. And over the course of the next couple of days, it absolutely went insane from like $5 low, even like mid fours, all the way up to almost $21. I think it topped out at $20.74 and then fell right back down. It has recently pulled all the way back down to another, inflection point, and it is painting some very interesting stuff. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on that. There's also some, fundamental aspects to the company that's actually really interesting, that's going to, benefit them tremendously over the next couple of months. And I think it could absolutely propel the stock price much higher. So today we're just going to jump in and look at the last earnings report. We're going to take a look at the chart. I'll give you my thoughts on what I like and where I see it going. Then we'll also take a look at Bitcoin because it has had a couple flash crashes over the last couple of weeks. So, which is very similar to what it did last September, on that last shakeout before it went absolutely insane from 10 grand to 65 grand over like 6 months. So let's get started. First thing, guys, so this is the last earnings report. Now, They reported earnings like a month ago, and their Q2 earnings report looked really good from a revenue perspective, but not so good on the other aspects. As you can see here, guys, Bit Digital Q2 revenue from crypto mining jumps 28.34 million from just 674,000 a year ago. So that year-over-year growth is insane, guys. I don't even know the percentage, but it is a lot, way more, than double. Now, as you can see, the company expects an increase in cost of revenues in the fiscal 2021 as it continues to expand and upgrade its miner fleet. So guys, I made a video about this company where I go much further in depth on the overall company, multiple months back. So I will link that here if you want to go check that out. But they are one of the larger US listed mining companies. They have a ton of different, miners in their fleet. They have a big hash rate. They do pretty well. But in the last quarter, in Q2, almost 50% of their fleet wasn't even deployed. So a large, percentage of their miners are over there in China. Back in October 2020, when the Communist Party of China was, talking about banning Bitcoin mining, they started transitioning and migrating all of their miners, or most of them, to North America. On June 21st of this year, they halted all mining because, the Chinese government banned Bitcoin. They put a stop to it. And so you can imagine how much that put a damper on their revenue growth. The ability to mine Bitcoin was completely cut off for 40-50% of their mining fleet. So they are projecting to have all of them back up and running and fully deployed in Q3 of 2021. So over the next couple of months. At the very latest, I think they said beginning of Q4. But as of right now, as of this earnings report, 70% or more of their current fleet was either in transit, set up, or awaiting installation in North America. So they're getting there. They could potentially have it done even sooner, and they're also making purchases to add more miners. However, they did sell off some of their older, less efficient miners as well. So they did take a little bit of profit from that and then put it back into new miners. Next thing, guys, the company earned 562.9 Bitcoin in Q2 versus 1,013.4 Bitcoin in Q1. And the company has 588.4 Bitcoin on hand. The reduced number of Bitcoin is a result of the company's plan to move its mining assets to North America. We just talked about that, which led to more miners being offline. So as you guys can see, let me see if I can open that up a little bit bigger. That's a pretty bad image, but you can see just kind of the graph here. So, Q2 of 2020, 72 Bitcoin, and then did really well in Q3, Q4 of 2020, and then massive in Q1 2021, and then they cut their miners off. So they did less than they did in Q3 of 2020. However, I think that we are going to see a big switch, a big jump back to these types of numbers of mined Bitcoin in the next couple of quarters, which will increase their revenue, their earnings per share, their net income. And I think a lot of investors out there, especially that invest in Bitcoin mining companies, just saw the decrease in earnings per share, net income, even revenue, and that's why they sold the stock. So it put a ton of downward pressure on this stock. I mean, it literally went from $14 to barely $3.97, almost like barely $4 before it reversed. So definitely, guys, you got to look at it in the sense of, okay, they're one of the bigger, more comparable mining companies in the United States or US listed. When you look at Mara and Riot, Bit Digital's hash rate is 1.92 exahash with all of their mining rigs fully deployed. Mara's is 2.3 and Riot's is 2.2. Now, Bit Digital's market cap is 550 million around there as of today, where Mara and Riot's is upwards of almost $3 billion. I don't know exactly what they are, but I know for a fact it's over 2 billion. So it is, 4 times what Bit Digital's is, and their hash rate is pretty comparable. Now, the one thing I will say there, I do like Mara obviously better than Riot because Bit Digital. I do like Mara more than Bit Digital because Mara and Riot actually have a substantial growth plan to dramatically increase their hash rate over the course of the next couple of months. So they're like constantly building and adding more miners, where BitDigital is just trying to get back up on their feet. Now, the valuation metrics are justified in that. Like, Mara and Riot are trading at way higher valuation metrics than BitDigital is right now, and that's obviously why. A couple of things here, guys. Q2 realized loss of 3.5 million from exchange of 599.7 Bitcoin, compared with a gain of 6,194 from sales of 57.76 Bitcoin. So one of the main reasons they had that net loss in Q2 was because they had to sell off a lot of their previously mined Bitcoin, or Bitcoin they had on hand, for a loss. Bitcoin had that big dump that went from, high 65K all the way down to 28K. So, when they had to dump that Bitcoin, it, obviously hurts miners when they can't hold on to that Bitcoin and have the price going up and then sell it for much more than they mined it at. You can see here, guys, as of June 2021, June 30th, 2021, the company had 588.4 Bitcoin on hand. As a result of its rapid expansion, net loss per share increased to 0.3 in Q2 versus 0.1 or 1 cent loss in Q2 a year ago. It is also working with the ESG Apex Group to become one of the first publicly listed Bitcoin miners to receive an independent ESG rating on its operations. So there is a couple of different, so-called catalysts that could really push this stock price up over the course of the next few months. The increase of all of their miners actually being deployed in Q3, to Q4. So their revenue is going to jump tremendously. Their net income, their valuation metrics, all of those things are going to constantly improve. When a company makes more money, but the stock price stays around the same price, or they get all their miners, added, the valuation gets better. If we look here, guys, you can see that as of today, their PE ratio is only 11. So it's really low. The price to sales is 4.44, and they have a negative free cash flow. So they don't have a price to cash flow ratio or valuation. So, that's one of the catalysts, is adding the miners. The second is getting the first ESG rating. So, and you know how, people are about the ESG and, energy efficiency and green, being energy responsible when mining Bitcoin. So those are the things that I like on the fundamental side of the business. Now I want to jump in and take a look at the chart, because the chart is looking really interesting and I think is showing quite a bit of upside. So let's jump in and take a look at the chart. Guys, BitDigital's chart's looking really good right now. Alrighty. So we had the big rally, right? So this was back when, the whole market was rallying back in like December, January, February of 2020. The stock actually had the inception back here in 2018. Tried to make a couple rallies, couldn't really do much. It reached that high point back in 2019, February, actually, at $13.56. But really ever since like May of 2019 all the way until November of 2020, the stock did nothing. Once it broke that level though and back tested it of inception, it went absolutely nuts. Ran all the way to that high point of $33.06, and that was back in January of 2021. Now that was very short-lived. It wick high'd that $33 and fell straight back down. Tried to even test 30 again, couldn't test 30 and fell back down again. Had some big gaps, and we got in right here around 14. Not one of my best trades, but nonetheless, I thought we might see a reversal around these levels. So then Bitcoin dumped, and then BitDigital dumped. They also had the mining shutdown, and there was a short report that came out, and so the stock just plummeted all the way down to a low point of $3.97 right back here at the end of July. So I sent out this bullish deep crab, right around $5 to all of the members. I jumped in and added more than the original position that I had on at $4.96. It hit the, pattern completion zone, which was also, again, that inception point, which was a critical inflection. This is an area here, guys, that as you can see, it gets above it, back tests it, had that first rally, held, came back, and once it back tested it, it had that broke it, that spring, back test to spring, ran to the all-time high, and then fell below it and retested it as resistance. And then once it did that, dumped down to all-time lows down there in like under $1. And then look what happened, guys. It resistance, 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 resistance. It breaks it, back tests it, and then it goes absolutely insane. So that's what we were looking for. Very similar price action. And as you can see, it fell, back tested it, broke it, spring. That's where the gap came from, and back tested it, and then it went nuts, going from $5 to $20.74, which was again very short-lived before falling all the way back down. So this was a very nice trade. Again, I only have a little bit of my position still on because I took profit at different profit-taking levels. I sent it out right when it hit the 100% retracement of the structure up there at the A point, you know, and said I was taking almost all my profit. So I took my, you know, a large percentage of the profit at $20, and then I took the rest at the B point. So now it's pointing a really nice M formation again. So we could look at this two ways. First, the type 1 reaction, type 1 return, and we could be in store for a type 2 reversal, which is really where the big moves come in. Now, that's typically, you know, a lot shorter, like a type 1 return or type 1 reaction, type 1 return usually doesn't go this high, but they're not always perfect. What I actually think is the better way of looking at it is a bullish Gartley in formation. As of today, it made a, you know, 63% retracement. And then it is currently at that inflection point, and it would need to go to the 786 for the pattern completion zone, which would also be confluent with the 1618 of the BC projection. So this is a really nice looking structure, guys. It would need to break a critical support level in order to get to the pattern completion zone. But what we could see is we could just see a wick down, or we could see it break and then spring, back test it, and then go nuts. So Bitcoin's, you know, been dumping the last couple of weeks. So depending on what Bitcoin does will obviously play a huge role on what this does. But as you can see, guys, we've got coinciding variables. We've got bullish divergence in development on the daily on the MACD. We are in the bearish control zone on the relative strength index, but as of today, you know, it's not even oversold. It's at like 36, so it's getting close to oversold. But what we could see is once it breaks it, it gets down into oversold, and then it springs and then back tests the spring, and it makes a lower level or a higher level of relative strength, and that would give us bullish divergence on the RSI as well. Now, guys, this is the structure that I like much more than this. I really like this because it would be making the first low, the second low, which would be a higher low, and that $6.96 level, it wouldn't quite get to it. But as you can see right here, the number would be $7.57, which as you can see here is some wick lows where it held support, some wick lows back here in January 2019, right here in April 2019, it would be a candle high close right there in April, and then all of these wick lows back here, and then also a wick high and candle high. Let's see, that might not be a candle high. Yeah, I think it is actually. That would be a candle high close from back in January 2018, so an initial all-time high. So that is also a level where we could absolutely see the stock reverse. If it reverses there, guys, our targets would be the C point, the A point for aggressive targeting, the B, C, and A for if you're a Casey Stubbs guy, or you can use your fib extensions and look for the 38.2%, the 50%, the 618, and then the 886 up there at 1946. I actually think, guys, if this structure plays out, we could absolutely see 1356 to 1465. It breaks 1465. We could even see 2191, especially if Bitcoin does what it did last September. And it's looking pretty similar, guys. I mean, last September, it had that last final shakeout on the harvest moon in September where it shook everybody out and finally found its bottom before running for 6 months straight to 65K. So I really like what Bit Digital's doing right now, guys. It's not at the area right now for a long. You would not take this trade today. You would need to wait until it hit the pattern completion zone and showed you a bullish reversal signal. So you would want to see some type of candlestick formation, something implying a major reversal is in store. Now, if it breaks this 786, which it very well could, it could go all the way to the 886, which would be a bullish bat pattern, which doesn't make much sense. I mean, there is a couple of levels like this low from here, a couple areas like a low from here back in, April 2019, some candle lows here in 2018. So I think the 786 makes a little bit more sense, but you see these structures all the time break the 786 and go to the 886. So, but again, the 786 makes more sense because you're not only, confluent with those, that initial candle high close, from 2018, but it's also confluent with the 1618. Like everything is lining up and looking really, really nice, guys. This is a beautiful looking structure, and I think there could be a ton of opportunity, just like we saw with the bullish deep crab. So put this on your watch list, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think. If you have a price target on Bit Digital, or if you have a trade setup that you're looking to take on it, let me know. I'd love to talk with you about it. And let me know what your Bitcoin price prediction is for the end of 2021. I'm really curious. If we jump over to the Bitcoin price, on the chart, you can see that it has been getting wrecked the last couple of weeks. It had the first flash crash, an attempted rally just to make a lower high than the previous high, and it dumped again. It is pulling back to that really, really important level, guys. If it breaks down past this level, we're going to see the same stuff we saw back here, in May, June, and July. So it breaks, that 40,582. We could absolutely see 30,000 like that, because price action correlation below this level, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. That's what it would do if it broke. So guys, this Bit Digital trade is highly dependent on Bitcoin's price action. If Bitcoin can catch some bids right here, if it's doing the same type of stuff it did last year, and we get some reversal signals and we start moving up to the upside, then I think you'll see that Bit Digital stock reverse and make very, very nice moves. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a licensed stockbroker. Always do your own research and due diligence. Don't just take my word for it. Come join us at the Patreon if you want to be part of the community, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.